And we are live.
Ah, hey everybody, how are we doing today? Your mastermind super geniuses are back. Week three, just saying. So since it's week three, we have our three musketeers here, locked, loaded, and ready to go. And today we are going to talk about what you need to do to unleash your inner genius. And we're going to have a fantastic discussion around that. Before we do, let's do a real quick introduction. You guys probably know us by now, but just because, here we are. James, do you mind just kicking us off and giving a quick introduction so that we can hit the road and get moving?
Absolutely. I am James Valentine. I am the Ascension Coach. I help people connect with higher states of consciousness, align with their higher self, and discover their soul's purpose so that they can live a life of love and abundance and fulfillment. So that is me.
Yay!
Excellent.
Well, I don't know which way we're going, but I'll step in now. Lisa
We're
Marie.
going too.
Yeah. Lisa Marie here. Surname Marie. I always like to get that out of the way. And I've been an entrepreneur for over 20 years. Started off in holistic wellness and have transitioned into working with entrepreneurs, professionals, and the visionaries, the leaders who want to be the world changers and legacy makers. And my specialty is working from that high performance leadership perspective, people in business, to help them actually break through all those barriers. Often we have a lot of things holding us back, and quite often we don't know what that is. So I help people find what's there and clear it, and help them just literally activate to exponential growth, and just we can all change the world together, right? So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And along with my fabulous co-hosts, my name is Dr. Melissa Robinson Weinmiller, and I seem to be going through a metamorphosis here, because I started out as an empathy person and I became the empathy lady. And then last week I was told that I'm supposed to be the empathy queen, and that I'm supposed to step up and own my crown. So at least for this hour, I'll be the empathy queen. Because
You do that, baby. Yeah.
might as well. We might as well own it. Well, one thing that we have done is we've kind of gone through, the three of us, and discussed kind of some of the stuff that we thought we would like to present, because we do each approach leadership and the different qualities that it takes to really rise within whatever organization or calling that anyone's involved in. We do have a little different approach towards it. So while we were going through deciding what we wanted to discuss, we spent some time talking about unleashing your inner genius, bringing all of the fantastic stuff that people have, but for whatever reason, they just are unable to bring to the forefront and to really use to effectively live their lives to the fullest capacity. So one of the things that I wanted to point out as we were talking about this, and one of the main things that I really bring to my clients when we're discussing that ability to lead and really hit superlative leadership, is this idea of self-reflection. That in order to unleash the inner genius, first you have to recognize and understand what's there. So it's also kind of along with this idea of how charity starts at home. So for me, I talk a lot about empathy and being able to use empathy to connect the leader to their EQ to be able to lead better. I'm sorry about my Kleenex. It's allergy season in Kansas. So there it is. There's nothing I can do about it. But being able to take that empathy and give it to yourself first before you can turn it and give it to others. That idea of self-reflection, because interestingly, with a lot of leaders, one thing that I've noticed is because they do tend to be very driven and they do tend to be very high powered and high level, they forget to give that to themselves first. So of course, if you can't give it to yourself, you're not going to be able to give it to anybody else, not effectually anyway. So the way I teach this concept is this idea of reflect in, reflect on, and reflect after. And the person who actually brought this to life for me was Peter Drucker, who Peter Drucker, who was one of the first people to actually start making business people centered, that your employees are the ones that really make the business. And without them, everything falls apart. But in his book, Managing Oneself, he actually discusses being able to self-reflect and then in turn take that and create better businesses, create better relationships between top level and people, create more of what you want within these organizations. So I take my cues on that from a couple different disciplines, but I like the idea of reflect in, reflect on, and reflect after. So you reflect in the moment while whatever is going on. Am I approaching this correctly? Am I approaching this correctly for myself? Am I giving myself grace in the moment? Do I understand that I am doing the best I can with the tools that I am given at this time? Having that grace and empathy for yourself. Reflect on, you're reflecting on everything that's going on and everything that's being done. So reflect in is inward, reflect on is outward. How is this? Did it work? Did it work for my people? What do I need to do to make these better connections? Do I need to set better boundaries? What can I do to make this better? And then reflect after everything is done, actually stopping and taking a recap. And the way that this has been taught, or the way I've taught to do it, it's something you can sit and do like a meditation, that you can take time out every day and do it, or you can kind of do it like micro meditations during the day. Just 30 seconds. How was this? How did this go? How did this do? Because leadership in general, there's not a lot of time there. So it's not like you have to dedicate hours and hours and hours and hours to it, but it should be a constant, rhythmic, habitual way of looking at what's happening and how you're assessing what's going on. Now, I know that
I love that, Melissa, because it's actually like a GPS.
Yeah.
I mean, you need to know if you're on track, and if you don't sort of look back and think, oh wow, I'm actually on the wrong path here.
Yeah.
You can get into all sorts of strife with not only with your leadership, but the whole organization.
Yeah, absolutely. And the flip side of that too is, imagine if everybody within the organization is doing this.
Yeah.
From the bottom to the top.
Powerful.
I mean, imagine the synergy that this kind of an organization and this kind of teamwork can actually create. I mean, this is where these power organizations that are just up the next level can come from, is this ability to actually do this kind of reflection and then work together within it. So I know you guys also work within this with this idea of self-reflection, and it's going to be a little bit different than the way I teach it, but I want to know what you have to say about it. And of course, with unleashing your inner genius, wherever else this conversation goes. But for me, that's what I really feel the first part of being able to unleash your inner genius is first understanding what it is.
Yeah.
Charity begins at home. That means understanding yourself.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
We're going to flip a coin, James?
Ladies first. Look, brains before beauty. So you go ahead, Lisa.
I've got to share why. I have to share why I was giggling my head off when, and I'm going to put you right on the spot here, James. James' camera was a little bit foggy, and I just said, oh, just clean off your camera. So this is going to sound very sexist. Not intended that way. He used his thumb just to try and clear the camera. I said, that's such a boy way of doing it. Use your shirt or a tissue or something. So I used his shirt, and it's crystal clear now. So yeah.
That is why a man needs a good woman in his life. Absolutely.
Well, you got two here.
I got two. I'm really blessed.
So, and clarity, while we're speaking of clarity, this is really important because most people walk around in a fog. And so I think from that perspective, I'm going to talk about the word consciousness for a moment. And I know that's definitely James's wheelhouse. But if you think about it, what's somebody unconscious? Well, they're passed out. They're not awake. What's somebody conscious? They're awake. So first of all, when people talk about mindfulness, meditation, consciousness, just think of that perspective, is that we're helping people understand what it's like to be fully awake. And to be able to tap into your inner genius, you need to be awake, because you'll be sort of walking in a bit of a zombie land in an unconscious state, just going through the daily rituals and mechanics of life. And so from the perspective of people talk about your genius zone, what the heck is that? Find your purpose. All of that language that has been so overused in today's online world, I think it's very important to just, what do you love to do? Like, think about your hobbies. What really lights you up? Do you like helping people? Do you like being creative? You know, generally, I'm going to come back to the child mind. I've always had a curious mind, because I needed to I needed to live in survival, so I needed to figure stuff out. And so when I brought props. So the props are coming. I'm not mixing stuff up today. I've got a little whiteboard.
Aw.
Oh, cool.
So hang on, let me get this right.
That's
There we
great.
go. So we're just a big lump of love right here. It's a heart on legs. So when we talk about a child's mind, I'll come back to this in a moment. Why does a kid walk around in a Batman suit, a Superman suit, a tutu, pretend that they're doctors, pretend that they're veterinary surgeons, pretend they're hairdressers? Why do they pretend? They're not pretending. They're actually living as though they're doing that. And as a little kid, up until our next prop, our noggin, okay, our brain, it is in rapid growth up until about the age of 5 to 7. And in that rapid growth phase, there's a predominance of particular brain waves, which is our theta and alpha waves, which is where our beautiful creativity, we can do anything, we can be anyone we want to. I'm going to be an astronaut and I'm going to fly to the moon, because they believe they can. And then as we get put into boxes and schools and religions and governments, and everybody puts their bit on us and told that, be quiet, stay calm, you have to do this, you can't do that, all of these things, what's happening is, as our brain starts maturing and stops growing so rapidly, we come up into the cognitive processing, and that is that's our analytical brain, where there's all sorts of things going on of problem solving and survival. So delta, which is our beautiful deep sleep state, or if you know how to get yourself into a meditation to be there consciously, that's where spiritual and mystical experiences occur. And if anybody's ever been there, if you're listening, you know that is simply undescribable. Indescribable? Help me out here. Grammar. Don't know.
Indescribable.
I'm going to make the word up. It's whatever it is.
Yes.
And so alpha is twilight. You know, when you're just waking up and you're just going to sleep and you're in that twilight zone, that's that beautiful, well, if you're getting out of bed to go to work, it's not so, but that's why I work for myself. But Peter, this is where the subconscious program is going. And this is when you get into normal states of meditation and mindfulness. You're actually in that beautiful brainwave where you are in the creative process of you are creating your future. But this is also when people are trying to recode, rewire all of the unhealthy programming that we got as a kid that's been running the show for the last 20, 30, 40 years that we have no control over because it's in the back seat. It's fear holding its hands around our neck. Then this is where we need to get to reprogram that. So in summary, there's a cue. So what's really important, I've got to keep conscious of the time here because like when I'm in the zone, I'm in the zone and I could just talk underwater with a mouthful of cement is my saying. So, but it's so fascinating. If Melissa touched on it, meditation, mindfulness is, it's not about your mind being full. Trust me, what we got to do is we got to empty that shite out of there. And it's also about really learning how to focus on one thing. And let's just bring the senses into it for a moment. Our physical senses, our sight, our hearing, our taste, our touch. Did I leave one out? That was 4. No, 5.
Smell. Smell.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I've only had 4 hours sleep. I'm running on pure love energy right here. Okay, so I'm just a big heart on legs. So, but it's that heart-mind connection. I thought I'd drop that in there. So even just for one day, you know, there's 7 days in a week, but I'm holding 5 fingers up here. So let's go Monday to Friday. That just focus on one thing. Today, I'm actually going to focus on paying really close attention to what I'm hearing, to the birds, to the traffic sounds, to the kids, but just focus on hearing. And you're going to hear so many more things that you don't normally hear because you're zoned out, you're in unconscious land. And when you start to learn how to focus, you then start dropping your brain waves to get into the state of where you can really start to be in the creative process and unlock that inner genius. Get back to dreaming again. Get back to being that inner child of what you love to do and what lights you up. And if you can do it properly and get connected to the right people, the coaches and the mentors, they can actually help you monetize that, because generally there is a way to be able to have your beautiful inner genius be something that can serve on a big scale to help other people light themselves up.
Yeah. Good stuff. And for the record, I don't mind. Always go as far as I'm concerned, always go as long as you feel led to go. Whoever, whether it's Melissa or Lisa, because we're as this threesome, we're in learning phase too, right? Like we're learning from one another as well. The direction I like to lead my clients, and there's many different ways up this mountain. It's reflection, like Melissa talked about. It's the kind of that theta state, which is before you go to bed, right when you wake up state. Lisa says she's only had 4 hours of sleep. She's probably in theta state right now. But whether it's journaling, contemplation, reflection, meditation, anything that takes you within. And for me, that's where I'm always trying to lead my clients. I'm trying to reconnect them to their soul. Our topic is discover how to access your genius zone. You access your genius zone by accessing you, capital YOU, your capital SELF, your soul, the Christ consciousness, your nothingness, or I think science calls it the 0 point field. It's that empty space by which everything springs out of. It's the silence by which sound comes forth. It's the formless by which forms comes out of. So it's really reconnecting or connecting with your soul, which is really the same things that Melissa and Lisa are saying. But that's where the magic is. It's right here in this moment. All we have to do is go within, and the answers pour out, the solutions pour out. I remember before I moved to Vegas, I watched this special on Netflix, and it was around mushrooms. And I was looking at how all these superstars, leaders, well-known figures, how it was kind of like this secret thing that they all did to really kind of connect with a higher state of consciousness. But the truth is, like, those aren't the things that we necessarily have to do to connect. Sometimes it's just being quiet and listening. Because one of the things I have not been proven wrong on this yet. Your genius is always with you. You don't have to go anywhere to get it. It doesn't necessarily have to be in a book. It doesn't necessarily have to be in a YouTube video. It doesn't necessarily have to be in a conference. It's already in you.
Yes.
And even just to dive a little bit deeper than that, sometimes it does show up as a reflection, right? Sometimes it does show up as Lisa, what Lisa shares, what Melissa shares, what I share, but it's all you reflecting you back to you. Like, we are an expression of your consciousness having a conversation with you. And so this, while you see Lisa, James, and Melissa, this is really you having a conversation with you. But it can be more easily accessed by you just going within, maybe with a question, or maybe you want to write something out in your journal, and allowing what comes through after that to come through. So that's kind of my succinct version of discovering how to access your genius zone, just understanding it's right there with you. I remember also growing up, there were these infomercials that said, hey, you can, buy a house with a penny down. And I'm like, that makes no sense at all, but I wonder if it's true. And really where I'm going with this, and I don't know if they were able to do it or not, I really never delved into it, but where I'm going with this is this. Just where you're sitting, you can get the inspired action on what to do to have what you want to have with little to nothing.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I rebranded at the beginning of this year. I wasn't connected to anybody. I didn't know Melissa. I didn't know Lisa. I didn't have money coming in. But I knew how to connect with my soul. I know how to connect with my soul. All of a sudden, accolades start to come, start having these amazing connections with these beautiful people here. But it all started with me going within. I didn't go looking for them. Someone even brought us all together. So what I'm saying for you is that all this stress and strain that you feel that you have to do to make something work, you only need to go within. And the steps will be shown for you of where to get to where you're trying to get to.
Yeah.
I'll stop there.
Yeah. And I think all three of us are, I love those fingers.
I was trying so hard to be quiet. I was like, mouse fingers.
You're like, is that Melissa again?
Reminds me of that Jerry Lewis skit where he's doing the typewriter. I love that. It's so funny.
Love Jerry Lewis. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So I think, the essence of what all three of us are saying is really that quiet reflection. It comes down to making space, just being with yourself to look at past, present, and future. And it's the modern world has put so much pressure and fear on us that we're connected 24/7, literally, that our poor old noggin, like, this is in a constant state of fight and flight and chaos. And we have what's called an incoherent brain. So it's very, very hard to connect to ourselves.
Yep.
And so, Melissa, from your perspective of leadership, I think there's definitely a place for that mindfulness component to come into, because it also helps people start to connect with empathy because they're in a quiet state.
Yes.
So moving forward,
yeah,
it might be something we're gonna do together, honey.
No, without a doubt. I mean,
Yeah.
it's necessary. And there's that place in the quiet mind too, where you, like you were talking about the different brain waves, you have to be in a certain place to be able to actually connect with those things with empathy. It isn't like you can, whistle like a dog, come here, empathy, and it's just going to show up. You have, I mean, but we live in that kind of world where everything is like immediate and right now and right at the touch of your fingers. And it's not like that. You have to actually be quiet. It's more like a cat. You have to wait for it to come to you in a quiet space. If there's too much business, no cat's going to show up. Well, no cat in their right mind anyway, I mean, they're not. So that idea of the mindfulness and allowing yourself to come down into those different waves, different brain waves, exactly like you were talking about, and taking the time to connect to that inner part of yourself that can release that inner genius, exactly like James was saying as well. Yeah. And actually, something I'd like to add to that, because Claudia put it in the comments about art being a meditative tool.
Yeah.
And it absolutely is. And actually, when I was typing, because there's a book called Flow, which I think everybody knows, right? But it's Flow, and it's written by a dude with really long Hungarian name that I can never pronounce. It's like Csikszentmihalyi or some. I'm not, Csikszentmihalyi, which I'm gonna
just for me. Try to say that again, Melissa.
You said it perfectly.
Csikszentmihalyi.
That works. I just love hearing you say it. I don't know what the.
Hungarian with the long last name. Hungarian dude with the long last name that I can't pronounce. But he talks in that book about getting into that state of flow and being able, when you're in that place where there's no time, there's no self, there's no anything. It's just you and whatever it is you're doing. And part of that in connecting with yourself is reaching that state of flow, reaching that, that place where you're kind of one with everything that's going on instead of being separated from it. One thing I say about artists, which I'm sorry, you can take the girl out of music, but you're never going to take the music out of the girl. And that's just the way it is. There's nothing I can do about that. And I don't want to. But
no need to apologize, honey. It is you. So, yeah.
110%. But the thing with music and with artists is that art is not something you create. Artists see the world in a different way. And that's where their value is. That's where you hit that state of flow where the creation comes from. Our value aren't in the things that we put into the world. Our value is in the way we see the world. And a lot of times it's through that state of flow, which is exactly what you guys were talking about. And it's
Mm.
something that a lot of people in leadership could take a cue from, because it just creates a much bigger synergy.
Yeah, beautiful. And actually, on that note, I was speaking to Mike Asherbrenner. I hope I said that correctly. It's not Hungarian with last long name, but it's a bit tricky for this little Aussie gal. Shout out to the Hounds of Business, by the way.
Yeah.
He mentioned something about afternoon napping, and Jim Rohn always said that the reason that there is a couch in a CEO's office is not to sit on. It's actually for that afternoon power nap, so they can actually recenter, recharge, and get into what the state that they need to continue leading at that high level, that high performance, that open mind, that they, obviously we're talking about the people who don't do it out of exhaustion, but know the importance of taking those power moments. And James, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. So from the tools,
Yeah.
what because you've not sort of mentioned in any obvious way mindfulness or meditation, or so what are some of the tools that you talk about and use to
Yeah.
get into that inner genius consciousness?
That's a great question, and it was really just for me personally. It was December the 7th when my higher self said I no longer needed to do any processes to access anything. However, for me, it is as Melissa kind of touched on and what she talked about is, I think Melissa, the term you used was micro something where you're doing it throughout the day. For me, it begins the moment I wake up. I am already seeing the world differently. I'm really starting my day within, and all of this is just in a dream state. So I'm waking up from a dream into a waking dream. And even as you ladies are talking, even as you may see me laughing, even as you may see me talking right now, I'm in that state. I am aware of of my character avatar having this conversation with you all. So it's a
state of
practice,
being.
or yeah, it's a way of it's for me it's a way of being that is just throughout my day. And if I have a moment where I'm too far to the left or too far to the right, so I'm very quickly will recognize that, and then just settle myself and go back within. As a matter of fact, before we close, I kind of want to lead everyone on a practice that they can use to kind of reconnect. Lonnie talked about being out of your mind seems to be a good idea, and really, that's why me personally, I no longer teach mindset, because I'm trying to get you out of your mind and get you into your heart. Because the mind can be, the mind can be tricky, right? But
Yeah.
the mind can have you all over the place thinking I use terms like the mind thinking you're almost there. You're not almost there. You're there. You just believe that you're almost there. And so that's how you experience it. But yeah, for me, it's just a habitual way of being at this point where I'm just aware that none of this is real. None of this, and this is just me, none of this is real. None of this is happening. But I will say what got me to that point was at the end of my day, I would journal. And I may journal something like, had a live with Lisa and Melissa on LinkedIn. But the truth is, there is no LinkedIn, there is no Melissa, and I'm not I'm not writing you out of existence. It's just, there is no Lisa, there is no Melissa. This is all just all of that was just a projection of my consciousness. And so it's just repetitiously reminding myself of the truth, which I did for quite a long period of time, to where now it's just automatic. If that resonates or makes sense to anyone.
And it comes down to oneness. So when you, I think when you are really connected to your higher self, you do understand that we're all one, and it's the people who are living in that fight and flight, that high stressed go, who are really disconnected from themselves, and so they look for external things to try and feel whole, but the wholeness is actually already within us. And when, in my experience, when you get connected with yourself, you actually feel this abundant love for everybody. No judgment, no lack, no scarcity, and just so connected with love and abundance. And yeah, it's a beautiful state of being. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Very, very calm.
Because everyone is us. Everyone is us. That is something that I do practice as well. Like, I will watch people going about their daily life, and I will go, that is I, that's I, that's I, and it's all related to the I that I am. So I'm basically saying that's a different expression of me. She's a different expression of me. And when you really grasp that oneness, you understand that what you want for you, the appearance of other people, or the appearance of what seems like other people, want that for you as well. Because if I am the eternal I, and they're just different expressions of the same I that I am, then I want for me what I want for me, because I am all that is. And so when I was in Christian ministry, I used to say it like this. I used to say that the moment you pray, people, places, and things are moving into position to bring you what you desire. The way I understand it now, because all are one, I am in many different forms bringing into this reality what I have intended. Like, I am bringing to me what I want. And really, I already have it, but I'm bringing myself into that frequency, that reality. And I when you speak from a place of consciousness, sometimes you have to be very careful, because you understand it, you know it, but you always try to be mindful to speak it in a way that other people will at least resonate with it. So hopefully I'm saying this in a way that other people resonates with it as well. Just understanding that everyone is yourself, everyone is you pushed out. And so when you set an intention, you, in the form of others, are now bringing it into your specific reality.
And that's one of the biggest reasons why because I go walking every day, every single day, I make a point of making eye contact and saying hello with a big smile on my face to everybody, because most people are head down and sad, and I want everybody to be happy, because that's a reflection of, I used to be unhappy, so I want everybody, I want all of us to be happy together.
Yeah.
Well, and really at the base, at the baseline with empathy, what you're saying is exactly right. Because if I feel what you're feeling and you feel what I'm feeling, and we are one.
Yes.
And that energy is flowing back and forth. It's precisely what you're talking about. It's when there's a disconnect, when the empathy is lacking, that there's a problem. But when people are connected, that's when things can happen.
Isn't
Absolutely.
this a beautiful way to end this conversation? So beautiful.
Absolutely.
With so much love. Love you all.
Yeah.
So, but I want to take everyone through just a quick practice
Oh, yes,
that
sure.
I do. So, and this will help you get out of your head and into your heart. So, I just want to ask whether you watch this in real time, whether you watch this on replay, and these beautiful ladies with me. Hold on, just one comment. I'll make sure I don't miss them. Kinga says, "Hello, friends." So I'm going to ask everyone to just kind of close their eyes. It's going to be real quick, and I'm going to ask you to take 3 deep breaths, but before you do, I want you to feel when you breathe in, as if you're breathing in love and light and peace and harmony. And I want you to hold it as long as you're comfortable, and then breathe out the cares of this day, the cares of this life, the cares of this week. Maybe you've had a lot going on today. And this exercise is to really just to get you out of your head and centered in your oneness, in your heart, connected to your soul. And I want you to place your hands just so where our attention goes, our energy goes. So just place your hand over your heart. And when you're ready, whether you watch this in real time or on replay, just take 3 deep breaths, breathing in love, light, beauty, harmony. Hold it as long as you're able. And then just breathe out. Just let it all go. Whatever needs to go, let it go. And when you're ready, just go at your own pace. Just breathing in abundance and harmony and oneness. Just breathing out the cares of life. Just one more time if you haven't already. And just let it all go. And when you're ready, just bring your awareness back into this moment with Lisa and Melissa and I. But this is a great practice if you feel like life is coming at you at a rate that you can't manage, or you recognize I'm in that space of how am I going to get this done? How am I going to figure this out? Where is the next client coming from? Wait, I just need to center myself, go within the oneness that Lisa talked about, the reflection, even that Melissa talked about, to where you're just breathing out. You know what? I'm fine in this moment. This moment is what it is. And even in doing this, you open up yourself to the solutions and the pathway that has always been there. It's just the mind has clouded it. So, all right, now we can close out. Namaste.
That's lovely. Thank you.
Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Well,
so we are going. Go ahead, Lisa.
I was going to say it's just been another fun session with you guys. So this is a great trip. So thank you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well,
Appreciate you ladies so much. Appreciate those who have watched.
Well, just before we go, we should give props to Hound of Business, to Mike Asher-Brainer and the Hounds of Business community who did bring us together.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Yeah. I love hearing you two say his name. Like, have you noticed I don't touch it because I'm going to chop it up. I'm going to chop it. It's just Mike to me. It's just Mike. That part I can do.
I'm breaking it into syllables.
Exactly. But we definitely want to, as Melissa said, celebrate our amazing community as well as Mike.
Mike. Yeah, that's it.
And we will be back next Monday with another amazing topic. Again, as I said on one of my first ones, if there's something that maybe we didn't touch on fully, or something that's maybe you've been circling around in your head that maybe you would love to hear us talk about, we have some topics already lined up. But if you have something that's just been on your heart, just let us know in the comments, message us, whatever, and we'll be purposeful and intentional about working through that. So,
Yay.
all right, lovely ladies. Lisa, I hope the move is going better than expected. And yeah, I will see
Thank
you
you.
all on next Monday.
Mwah. Thank you.
Love you
Bye,
all.
everybody.
Namaste.
Yeah.